Hello everyone, welcome to NintenDormant, the podcast where we discuss Nintendo games that have been left on the shelf. I'm your host George Banks, and this week we are joined once again by a talking sock. A talking sock. Hello.
You said A. It's alright. All's good.
I said A, I went back to It's a talking sock. How have you been?
I have been just dandy. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me back.
You're very welcome. Well, joining you once again is the lovely John Cartwright. John, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. We've just been having a chat before the podcast started about being dad tired. But do you know what? We're going to be fine for today. We're all pumped up.
Hell yeah!
We're pumped up because we're going to be talking about balloons. That's a dad joke.
Ooh.
A dad joke right off the bat. Now, I had the two of you on to talk previously about Urban Champion. A game that I think we agreed wasn't the best. Did anybody have an itch to go back and play it following the chat? A Talking Sock, did you go back and give it a whirl?
Not I. I don't think it's like terrible, but it's definitely a meager offering.
Yeah, John, how about you?
Yeah, I threw a little party in the street.
Did you?
Invited my whole neighborhood down.
Yeah.
We projected Urban Champion onto a big wall, and everyone took turns. Kids came out and they said, "This is art." And there was like
you had like a
tears rolling
shadow
down their
cast
faces.
of people fighting each other against the wall in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really evolved humanity, I feel.
Did you emerge as the urban champion of your neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, let me tell you, they are fearful of me now. I walk down the street, people open their doors, they look out, they take a little peek, and they close it straight away.
The important question, though, is: does your daughter respect you now? As per the rules of your pitch.
I think people need to listen to the last video to get full context on that.
Yes. I want to make it categorically clear that on this podcast we do not recommend beating people up for your daughter's approval. It's not necessarily a stance that we take.
No matter how posh she speaks as a result of it.
Exactly.
Don't
get tempted.
What games have you been diving into recently?
Me, myself, I tend to go back to F-Zero 99.
Nice.
I'm a big F-Zero guy, and just having an F-Zero game I can pick up and play on my Switch is great. I'm only missing one badge and one color swap for all the machines. Then they'll all be complete. That'll be nice. Yeah, it's just
that's
it's
really
what happens when you play it all the time.
Yes. Have you done first place in every Grand Prix as every car?
Everyone except for Queen League. That's the one badge I'm missing.
That's super impressive.
That's very impressive. Have you played any of the Game Boy Advance one that dropped on NSO?
I've not. I don't have the expansion pack. I keep thinking I've got to get on it, but there's nothing there that I can't play on an emulator. So it's what it is.
Fair. I mean, I'd love to do F-Zero on this podcast, but I think my rule is like about a sort of 5-6 year period where a game hasn't seen a release. So I think, John, we're counting 99 as a legitimate release, right?
It's a new game, yeah. It wears the skin of the Super Nintendo game, but mechanically, that's a totally new game.
And it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with where F-Zero is right now. But we are going to talk about some other games, and we're going to play a different game right now. Yes, it's time for the NintenDormant quiz. 2 rounds, fastest finger first, followed by play or pass for double points. And as always, we let our guests pick their buzzers. So, Sock, what buzzer will you be gracing us with today?
I guess I'll go with the balloon popping sound from Balloon Fight. Let's keep it on brand this time. I didn't think ahead of anything funnier. So
I can't think of. I mean, I've been playing it earlier today, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I feel like it's quite a satisfying, like. But I don't know if
it is sort of like a.
Yeah, nice. Okay, nice. A balloon popping from Balloon Fight. Thank you very much,
Doodly
John.
doodly doodly doo.
What are you going to do for us today, John?
Can you source from any military game? It could be Call of Duty. It could be Battlefield.
Yep.
I just want like a guy who goes like grenade.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah. I have no character reference for who that's going to be. It's your choice.
Does it specifically have to be Call of Duty?
It doesn't have to be. It could be anything. Anyone who yells grenade.
I've got a very quick story to say about something like that. So I was very excited. I didn't get it. I was gutted. But I auditioned many years ago to be in an advert for a Nintendo game. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I was robbed because everybody there was saying, "Oh, I don't really play Nintendo," and I was thinking, "Oh my god, I'm going to get this." And I think it was for the re-release of GoldenEye. Anyway, we all had to sit and pretend to play GoldenEye, and I had played many years of GoldenEye, so I was doing the kind of intense like Golden Gun and all this kind of stuff. And there was a guy sat next to me who yelled "grenade" about 8 times while we were pretending. And I'm actually thinking about it now. I don't think there are grenades, right? There's mines, or is that Perfect Dark? I might be getting that confused now.
There are mines in GoldenEye, I think it is, not grenades.
Yes, so every time I hear grenade, I just think about the guy and sort of sitting there thinking, you don't know the game. Anyway, best of luck to him. I hope he got the job. I can't remember. Let's get back on track with the quiz. So
that was Nolan North, dude.
It was Nolan.
That was Nolan North.
Nathan Drake himself.
Yeah, he's done all right. Right, fingers on buzzers. Question 1. Balloon Fight sees you take to the skies and compete in balloon popping fun. But what are the colours of the player's balloon? Ooh, it's sock. Sock?
The player's balloons are red.
They are red balloons, and I wrote the quiz this morning, and I've had 99 red balloons in my head all day. All day. I mean, thoughts on the song? Banger or not fantastic?
I mean, I like the song.
Yeah. I do too. I think it's a banger.
I prefer the German version, but again, I don't know if that just makes me weird. I feel like that was maybe in Scrubs, 99 Luftballons, but I can't remember.
Yeah. That's the only version I know. I've never heard an English version.
Is there an English version?
I don't know. You said I prefer the German version, so I assume there must be another that you're talking about, right?
John, are you Googling this?
I am Googling this. I'm pretty sure there is an English version.
I think there's an English version.
I feel like Weird Al did it in one of his polkas too. So
yes, possibly.
Yeah, there is an English version.
Okay, I'm not going mad.
There you go.
All right. 99 red balloons. Let us know if you prefer 99 Luftballons. I'll be interested to know how that's split across the audience. Yes, red balloons for the player. Well done, Sock. First point to you. Question 2. Balloon Fight has 2 modes, the aforementioned fighting gameplay and another endless runner style. Sock has already buzzed.
What's the question going to be?
This is sensational if you know the answer. What's the answer?
Is it Balloon Trip?
It's Balloon Trip, John. Come on. That is mad. Yes, the rest of the question is, what is the name given to the second gameplay type? It's Balloon Trip. That's I don't think... We had... Josh once buzzed enough for the word witch, but he didn't get it right. So that is very impressive. Yes.
Oh,
big congrats.
Do you prefer... Have you played both modes, Sock? Do you have a preference at a Balloon Fight and Balloon Trip?
Yeah, I like them both. I prefer Balloon Trip when I'm just sort of going over and over with no goal in mind, just to see how far you can go. But the fighting gameplay is also good for that in single player, so, it's what it is.
How about you, John?
I like Balloon Trip. Yeah. I really like Balloon Kid, the sequel, which kind of evolves on that.
Same.
Yeah, I just love the adventure style to it.
Yes.
And the Nintendo Land game is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Nintendo Land's on this podcast. It's got to come back. But yes, I'm in full agreement. Balloon Trip. It's the best of the best for the first game. Question 3. There are 2 items from Balloon Fight that have made it into Smash. One's a generic item that all players can use, and one that's player-specific. What are those items? Sock again.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to take a shot in the dark. When you say a general-purpose item and a non-general-purpose item, do you mean the non-purpose one is specific to character moves?
Yes.
Okay,
it's an item from It's an item from Balloon Fight, but yes, it belongs to a character.
I think I know what these are then.
Then I believe the general purpose item is the flipper.
Yes.
And the character item are the balloons that the Animal Crossing characters can use.
Oh my goodness, he's running away with it, John. 3 points to nothing.
I need to strap in.
I
know, right? I've got fast fingers for a guy with no hands, right?
Very good. I thought the flipper might trip you guys up because I feel like I didn't double check this, but I feel like it's not in Smash anymore. I think it replaced the bumper.
It was in Melee.
It was in Melee, but
And
I don't know if
then
it's back
they brought the
since.
bumpers back from Smash 64 after that, didn't they?
Yeah. I prefer the flipper. I think the flipper was a bit sort of mad and crazy and a bit more interesting than the bumper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flipper was the first thing that came to my mind. I was processing the rest of the question about like the non-generic item.
Yeah.
I phrased it as best as I could. But yes, the balloon helmet and the flippers. Well done. Question 4. Balloon Fight's sequel, Balloon Kid, is a Game Boy side-scrolling adventure game featuring bonus levels, but what do you need to find to access those levels? Ooh.
Grenade!
Oh, it's Balloon John has buzzed in.
So I'm actually not certain if I'm correct with this.
Neither am I. So
You're half a second advantage.
All right.
you've gotta
Yes,
use
you
it.
make your way through the levels. Every now and then, you can find a bonus section that'll take you to a place. It's not a pipe, is it?
It's not
No, it's not a pipe.
John.
It's
The
not a
bonus
pipe.
room features pipes, which is probably what
That's
you're
right.
thinking of.
That's right.
Sock, have you
Let's
got
see
it?
if Sock knows.
I played it like a couple months ago. I did not play it in preparation for this podcast. I should have,
okay.
but is it? I feel like bonus rooms were found in like little doors. Were they? Is the answer doors, keys?
It's not a door. Has John got it? Have you got it, John?
I thought he had it with door.
It's giant Game Boys. You have to find a
That's
giant
right.
Game
It is
Boy.
giant Game Boys.
It's a Game Boy
I
that's bigger
think-
than the
Right.
character. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a question, so I don't know. I probably shouldn't say it, but I think doors is applicable to another thing.
Oh, I don't have anything about doors here. I don't remember doors.
I'll mention it once the quiz is over,
Okay.
in case it comes up.
I promise you, doors doesn't come up on the quiz.
Okay.
There's
Could it
5
be
questions
Nintendo
left.
Land? I feel like it's probably Nintendo Land. You went through doors.
Maybe.
I can't. Okay, we'll get into it. No points for that one then. So let's reset those buzzers. Question 5. Balloon Kid starts in the city of Pennsylvania, but what do the skyscrapers there look like?
Grenade!
It's John.
Pencils.
Pencils. Yes.
I got one!
It did.
That they do.
I mean, I had to give the name just in case you had no idea. But I love it. It's not Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Very good.
It's so good.
Beat me by 154 milliseconds.
It's all it takes. I mean, John, you wouldn't know. Sock's got such a good poker face as well. You wouldn't know if you knew the answer, so you just got to gamble. I love sort of weird details like that in. I was going to say old Nintendo games. In any Nintendo game, there's such weird stuff. But I love the background of the first level with just skyscrapers and then skyscraper pencils. It's so good. So good. Such a ridiculous.
I really love
pointless
the
detail.
one level where you can see like blimps and like biplanes going by in the background where it's like, oh, this is Balloon Fight. We're in
Yeah.
a balloon war. That's crazy.
Yeah, and
Balloon War is a really good name.
and the blimps just have fight across them as well, right? I think.
They do, yeah.
I love Balloon Fight. Right. That is 3 points to 1 then for Sock. So Sock, you take round 1, which means you go first for play or pass. Are you ready for your question?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Question 1, play or pass. Balloon Kid features a named protagonist on a mission to rescue her brother, but what are the character names? So is it Amelia and John? Is it Annie and Josh? Or is it Alice and Jim?
It is Alice and Jim.
It's
And I'm
Alice
so
and
glad you gave me the
Jim.
multiple choices because I remember Alice easy because she's like Alice in Wonderland. But Jim, I completely memory hold.
Oh man, I was really close. I was going to do like Alice and someone else and Jim and somebody else and then Alice and Jim, which would have been better to do it. Never mind. John,
Oh, well.
John, do you perchance have a favourite out of those 3 name options that you would have gone for?
I mean, I quite like the first one. I thought that was a nice
Yes.
choice.
Yes. Alice and Jim. I mean, this is not for a bonus point. Do you remember the name of the other character in the game? The sort of player 2 character? Nobody
I do
ever
not.
remembers. It's I don't
sure.
think, wait, I want to make sure this doesn't come up. It doesn't come up. It's Sam with 2 M's.
Of course it's Sam.
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 Yes, that's the player 2 character. we'll talk more about the characters, because I actually really like the characters in the story for Balloon Kid. But yes, Alice and Jim the little brother. John, this is your question. Play or pass? Balloon Fight got its own Game & Watch spin-off between the NES and Game Boy entries, but what is the name of the game's antagonist? I'm so sorry, John. I don't know how you've ended up with this one. Is it A, Oiram Repus, B, Flip Flop Cletus, or C, Enron Lupus?
I'm just trying to read if Sock
I know.
could possibly know the answer to this.
Just look deep into the eyes, looking shifty.
Those are the eyes of someone who knows. I feel they must be.
Are you passing? Are you playing? You passing?
I do not know the answer to this. And
All right.
I have great fear in my heart. However, I am going to pass the question.
All right. Sock, is it A, Oiram Repus, B, Flip Flop Cletus, or C, Enron Lupus?
I'm going to go with A.
Oh, he's got the 2 points, John.
Of
He's
course,
got the 2
of course he
points.
does.
Did you
did
know
it.
it, Sock?
No. I had no clue at all.
Did you even know, John? You look surprised that there was a Balloon Fight Game & Watch. Did you know that there was a?
I knew there was.
Right.
I was just. I don't know anything about it though, so
Yeah.
I was immediately shaking.
Yes, we'll touch on it. It's kind of similar to Balloon Fight, but also a bit weird. I don't know that you actually ever see Oiram Repus. I think he's just on the cover. Very odd. But yes, 2 points scooped up by Sock there. Well done, Sock. This is your question.
I wish it was Flip Flop Cletus.
It's
the best name ever.
I had to think of something vaguely like Oiram Repus. I couldn't think of anything. It's such a weird name. It's the weirdest name. They're not recognizable words. Anyway, I'm sure it means something. I'm sure it means something clever. If anybody knows, please tell me. Question 3. This is for you, Sock. There are 4 ways a player can be knocked out or defeated in the original Balloon Fight. Can you name those 4 ways?
I can give it a shot. So, you can either lose all your balloons in the air.
Okay.
You can get electrocuted. You can get eaten by a fish. Or, now the 4th one is tricky. What is the 4th one? You can... I guess... Does dying not in the air? Does dying on the ground count?
You can touch the ground?
You can touch the ground, but... Yeah, I guess that's for enemies, not the guys. Oh, shoot. What could they be?
Is the distinction
I
you're
guess
making there-
drown? Just drown without getting eaten by the fish?
Hitting the water. That's the one. Yes, well
got them.
done. 2 points. Yes,
Yep.
balloons popping, landing in the water, getting eaten by the giant fish, or being struck by lightning from the clouds. The giant fish, which still gives me nightmares from Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, they crucified that thing.
He is vicious. Like every time I see it, and it's so fast in Smash Brothers as well, just out of the water. Oh, I don't like it. I do not like it at all. Yes, all right.
But I love that they put it in the Ice Climber stage because it kind of lends credence to this feeling I have that a lot of the NES era Nintendo games share a continuity.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Yeah, they all kind of linked, aren't they? They're sort of similar art style on the box art. You know, I say similar gameplay, obviously different gameplay, but you know, platforms and doing something in and around them. Yeah, I love the idea of these guys just hanging out sort of around a bonfire. In fact, that's a game I'd play. Now, John, it is 9 points to 1.
It's not looking good.
It's not. A victory's not looking likely, but you can claw back some respectability with this last question. So I hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. 1992 saw a reskin of Balloon Kid.
Hello Kitty World.
Oh, John, fantastic! That was.
Wait, he got it?
That was amazing. Yes, it featured a reskin of Balloon Kid featuring an iconic global character in the lead role. Who was that character? It was Hello Kitty.
What?
In Hello Kitty World.
Yes. Yeah, they took
I did not
Balloon
know
Kid,
this. That's amazing.
a Game Boy game, and they ported it to the Famicom and reskinned it as Hello Kitty.
Super weird. And
I feel like I saw an AK Family Home video about that or something.
I really want to play it. I mean, have you ever played it, John?
I've got it. Yeah.
Have you got it there?
It's It's not in my Famicom right now, but I've got it around here somewhere. It's very, very cool. Because it gets rid of any screen crunch too, so you get a much broader playing field.
Oh, of course.
And I can't remember if the special stages are still Game Boys, and this is what I was going to talk about earlier.
Oh.
So I think they might be Game Boys or they might be doors. It's one of the two.
But then if it's on the Famicom, it would be more sense to be doors, right? Because it's not.
Yeah.
That'll be what it is.
There's one more cool Balloon Kid fact that wasn't in here.
Okay.
On Nintendo Power, the cartridges, which they shipped in Japan, kind of like Famicom disk systems, where you can print your own games onto them, there was a color version of Balloon Kid DX.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Only sold through Nintendo Power kiosks.
Wow, I didn't know that. I knew that there was a color sort of reskin, I guess, of it, or what would you call that? It's not really. Do you call that like a remaster back in the day? I guess it's
a
kind of
remaster,
like
I guess,
Yeah.
a color remaster.
That's a very cool fact. I've never seen one of those discs myself. I know you have some, John. I've never seen one in real life. I would love to one day.
But it's kind of wild that Balloon Kid got like 2 remakes. You know, they have the vanilla one, the color one, and the Hello Kitty one.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, Hello Kitty would be very proud of how quickly you got that. But at the end of the quiz, it is 9 points to 3 for Sock. So, Sock, congratulations. Well done.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And that means that you'll be going first as we move on to the main event. So yes, the series we are talking about today is the Balloon Fight series. A quick history lesson for those who don't know. Balloon Fight was developed by Nintendo R&D 1 and HAL Labs for arcades before being ported to the NES for all regions between 1985 and 1987. A high score chaser, gameplay involves the player or players tapping A to hover, allowing them to clear the screen of enemies by popping their balloons while avoiding having theirs popped themselves. A second mode ditched the combat for a side-scrolling solo campaign where the player avoids obstacles while collecting balloons for points, and this gameplay was mirrored in the 1988 Balloon Fight Game & Watch. The early 90s saw a full sequel with Balloon Kid, a charming side-scrolling adventure game featuring greater enemy variety, boss battles, and both air and land capabilities, plus a revamped 2-player mode. Balloon Fight is currently playable on the NSO expansion, but to this day Balloon Kid remains locked to older Nintendo handhelds. So yes, have we played this game? We've had a little bit of a chat about it during the quiz, but John, tell me, what were your sort of first experiences of the Balloon Fight series?
I'm pretty sure I started with Balloon Kid on the Game Boy. That was one of my first Game Boy games, along with Game Boy Gallery, like Pokemon Red, Mario Land 1.
Oh, wow.
I think Balloon Kid came not long after that.
Wow, really early.
Yeah, and I really, really liked it. It went a few years, though, until I played the actual Balloon Fight. I think that might have been Wii Virtual Console for me. And I liked that, too. It was a lot of fun. I hadn't played Joust before Balloon Fight,
Right.
and so I didn't really have any reference to that. But years on, I played Joust. I was like, yep, this sure is Balloon Fight without the B mode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love both games a lot, but Balloon Kid has a special place in my heart for sure.
I don't suppose you by any chance decided to pick up Balloon Fight because there was reference to it in Smash Brothers by any chance in a trophy? It seems to be the story.
Probably.
With most of
That's
your
usually
experiences,
that's usually where it comes from. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to just dabbling in any Wii Virtual Console game.
Yeah.
I'll scroll through them and see like Mario as the referee in Punch-Outs. I'd buy Punch-Out.
Great
yeah,
purchase.
just lots of stuff on a whim.
Yeah. How about you, Sock?
Yeah, I definitely, my first exposure to the Balloon Fight series was definitely through Smash Brothers. The trophy of the Balloon Fighter intrigued me because at that time, and that's something I really appreciate about Melee and Brawl, that the later Smash Bros. Games have not done to the same effect, is have a kind of unifying art style that really, you can, no matter how odd or not related any given Nintendo series is, when it's a Melee trophy, you can tell that it's a Melee trophy.
It's
So there was that kind of thing where if you didn't know anything about the history of these characters, you might look at Ness and the Ice Climbers and think they come from the same series. They've got the same eyes. Balloon Fighter sort of looked like he could be a Mario character, but also looked like Mr. Saturn, but also looks like Olimar. So it's like he's just this kind of prototypical Nintendo protagonist where when you start to learn about the history of these characters and the games and everything, it sort of strikes you as why isn't this guy an all-star with the rest? What happened to him?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that because the sort of unifying art style, because, don't get me wrong, I love the Melee trophies, but for me, the Balloon Fighter trophy is quite an ugly trophy. I sort of had a little look of it, while going through the quiz and everything, and, he's got the little sort of round nose, and I don't really like his pose. I'm just not a fan of him. But I had a sort of similar route. I sort of first discovered it because of Smash. Tried the game sort of through any means that I could. Came very late to all of it. But Balloon Fight, is basically just a sort of set stage. There are some birds that sort of pump up balloons. They're trying to pop your balloon with their beak, and you're trying to pop their balloons with your feet, I guess, and that's it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a 2-player mode, but it's not like a versus mode. It's 2 players playing together, right, to pop the balloons.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and I do think that's a bit of a missed opportunity not having combat, essentially. And then we touched on Balloon Trip, the sort of the other mode, and weirdly, well, I don't know if this is true. I kind of think people associate Balloon Fight with that more if they don't know it, because I think that sort of turned up a bit more in WarioWare and things like that. But I'm not. What do you think, Stock? Is that sort of, when you think of Balloon Fight, do you think of the fighting section, or do you think of more the kind of floating along Balloon Trip style of gameplay?
I don't know if one sticks out in my mind more clearly than the other. They kind of... I mean, I don't know if I can remove myself from my current knowledge of the games, but yeah, I don't know. I think because it's named Balloon Fight, I think of the fighting first. But when I think of like the Balloon Fight series, the iconography, I do think of a character flying through the air. But I think that's mostly due to both Balloon Kid and the way Balloon Trip Breeze from Nintendo Land. It sort of seems like, in the coming years, it's more so the aerial gameplay than the fighting that's been remembered, called back to.
Now, but Balloon Trip Breeze is really good in Nintendo Land, by the way. Like, it's such a beautiful style, and they use the touchscreen really, really well.
Now, can you, John? I love Nintendo Land, but I am drawing a blank on Balloon Trip Breeze. So, can you give us a quick rundown of the gameplay?
Yeah. So you get a big zoom out on the TV, and on the gamepad you've got a tighter display. And what you do is you're basically the wind, like Lost Winds on WiiWare, kind of. And so you're using the touchscreen, and you're flicking around the balloon guy, which just gives gusts of wind to make him move around. And it's Balloon Trip, basically. You're just controlling him by moving the wind around. You've got to make him eventually land on little platforms to end the level, and then go on to the next wave.
Honestly,
And it's funny too, George, you mentioned that the enemies in Balloon Fight are birds.
Yes.
I had always assumed that they were men wearing like masquerade masks, like Zani masks. But in Balloon Trip Breeze, though, they hatch from eggs, and they are just more clearly bird people. So
right. I mean, honestly, even though you've described it to me, I fully cannot picture it. So tomorrow I'm going to fire up my Wii U, and I'm going to enjoy a little bit of Nintendo Land. Everybody should. If you don't have a Wii U in Nintendo Land, get one.
There's also Tingle's Balloon Fight, sold through on DS through Club Nintendo, and it's one of those really cool DS games that uses both screens. So it's a big vertical game. It's Balloon Fight, but just spanning 2 different screens. You can go between them. It's rad.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I wasn't sure whether or not to include this in it, because it's like kind of a spin-off, but kind of not, because it's a different IP. It's very weird. I mean, we're going to talk.
I'm kind of glad you didn't include it. I've also gone back and forth on it. I feel like it's a topic for a video someday. When series belong to multiple series, which one takes precedent? Like, there's Tingle's Balloon Fight, there's Mario Kart Wii, there's... there are others. Mario versus Donkey Kong. Well, there are plenty where it's hard to tell.
As long as you're not going to say anything mean about my boy Tingle, then I'm okay.
Oh no.
Okay, good.
I've got
Okay.
nothing against Tingle. I
This
love
is a
Tingle.
safe space for Tingle.
Good. Otherwise, I would have just
Yes.
fully cut you off from this conversation. No, please stay. Well, talking about the characters then. So, yes, moving on to the Game & Watch. Obviously, Game & Watch, if you don't know, they're sort of almost like calculator screen games. They're rad. They're very gnarly. You should give them a little look. But the Balloon Fight one has a full story. So, I just looked up about Oiram Repus, who we all know as the lovable antagonist. He apparently is a sky pirate, and the character in the Game & Watch one doesn't have a balloon helmet like all the other ones. He's just sort of holding balloons and has a jetpack, and is apparently part of the Sky Patrol, and is after Oiram Repus to put him back in the prison of Sky Metropolis. And you're basically... Yeah, it's absolutely
So
mad.
it's like a Sky Skipper sequel too. That's crazy.
It's absolutely bonkers, and you're just moving along, as the balloons sort of go boop, boop, boop along the screen, avoiding the avoiding the balloons. So the enemies must be throwing balloons, and then every eight sort of levels, Oiram Repus turns up, but I've never seen him on any gameplay I've watched, and he throws sparks. You have to avoid the sparks, but then you get 50 points. And he goes to prison, apparently, but again, I've never seen it. It's weird. This weird.
Sounds like something we would pitch on this podcast.
It does.
It doesn't sound real.
I mean, I'm 100% using some of that in my podcast. But yes, I would encourage you, if you've not seen it, to... you were talking, Sock, about the kind of unified art style of the NES. I think Game & Watch kind of leans into that, right? But has its own kind of distinct kind of differences from that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would.
It comes down to the artists. I don't remember who the box art artist for Game & Watch typically was. I'm sure they had multiple, but there was that one fellow who made the characters rounder and a little bit more rubber hose, as opposed to Miyamoto's more staunchy, paunchy characters.
Yeah, well, this one is definitely. I'd say it's a bit more rubber hose. It's a bit more rubber hose. Look it up if you've not seen it. I'll post it up on Bluesky as well. But it's it's well worth having a look at. It's interesting characters who have unfortunately didn't appear in the sequel. Balloon Kid. Now, I think for me, Balloon Kid is the kind of you're not really have much of the fighting aspect that the series is titled Balloon Fight, but it is, I think, head and shoulders the best in the Balloon Fight series. Yeah?
It is, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Kid, you mentioned that you played it a little while ago. What kind of... Did I call you Kid? I think I just called you Kid.
You called me Kid.
Sock.
Hey, Kid, why don't you join the conversation,
Kid.
huh?
Hey, Kid.
You got your 2 cents ready, Kid?
Sock.
Freudian slip.
Yes, you said that you played Balloon Kid not too long ago. I can't believe how long it took for that to click in as well. I'm dad tired. You played it a couple of months ago. What kind of stood out from you from what stayed with you from that experience?
For me, it is the expanded moveset that Alice gets, which I'm just like, when I played it for the first time, I thought, this is brilliant. Like the letting go of the balloons, but then jumping back up to catch them before you lose them forever. It's like, that's genius. And also being able to pump new balloons, like in an auto-scrolling level. So there's you can recover them, but the time. All of that is amazing. So is the art direction, the new characters, the new worlds.
Yeah.
I like that it's going for a kind of storybook aesthetic. I believe that there are overt references to Gulliver's Travels, Little Red Riding Hood. It was an interesting direction to take it. A lot of those Nintendo R&D 1 Game Boy sequels to NES games are interesting in that way. Super Mario Land, Kid Icarus Myth and Monsters, Metroid 2. They're these great little oddities where you get a glimpse into the NES's limitations breeding interesting ideas through limitations, sort of continuing. At the same time, the SNES and the N64 are evolving the series due to how much more, technology they have to work with. Just an interesting little pocket of Nintendo legacy.
Yeah. I'll just elaborate on the balloon dropping mechanic a bit there too, because it is really versatile. Those first few levels, you don't use it too much, but in the later ones, you can get like a bit more control just by jumping without the balloons, because with them, it's quite floaty. You've got to correct yourself a lot. So you get this really cool dynamic of traditional platforming and then free-flying. But you can also use it in boss battles. Like, do you sacrifice your free-flowing movement just to get an easy jump in? It's a really cool mechanic, and I wish that they would keep exploring that, because it really did work well here.
I think that's a really good observation, Sock, about the sort of the shift from the NES games to Game Boy games, and when they were kind of developing. I think we've talked about this a bit, John, in some of the previous episodes you were on. It's such a shame when these characters don't get that chance to make the jump, because so many interesting things came out from it. And, like you were just saying, John, about the expanded moveset, I would love to imagine what Balloon Fight would be now, had it continued. I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast, of course. But let's talk a little bit about the game. So, there is a story, as we mentioned. So you're in Pennsylvania, and it's just two kids, Alice and Jim, who love to blow up balloons. One day, Jim blows up too many, and he blows away. So, Pixar, you owe Nintendo some cash. But he blows away, and there's not even like a sort of overarching threat. He's just like, oh, how's Alice going to find me? I know, I'll leave a trail of balloons. It's so lovely. So she floats along. We mentioned Pennsylvania, so you're in a city with big pencil skyscrapers. There's a few different worlds. There's like a beach, a forest. You go inside a whale at one point. There's a sort of mountain, a factory, and much more enemy variety. So you've still got the big old fish, but you've got you've got things jumping up out of the water. You've got things that fly and then sort of move up and down. Walruses that charge at you. Fires on the ground, so you can't land in certain places. And that what you were talking about with the moveset, John, with releasing the balloon. Well, both of you releasing the balloons or sort of being on foot. I love that there's aerial and land-based stuff, and because a lot of it's auto-scrolling, it's actually quite a strategic adventure game for the Game Boy.
It absolutely is. It fits really well to that small screen too, because it was all optimized around that Game Boy screen, and the way the slow scrolling actually is a big benefit here. I think that's something that can be a bit tiresome in some console games, but when you're just sort of tied to these bite-sized levels, it actually does pace itself really well.
It does.
I hope this goes to NSO soon. I feel like it's a really good game that just doesn't get the attention it deserves.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute. It's a big miss. It deserves to be there. I mentioned briefly bosses. Do any of you, Sock, do you recall any of the bosses from your recent playthrough?
I'm pretty sure there was a big bad wolf.
There is, yeah. Wacka Wacka Wolf.
Yeah.
Called,
yep. Wacka Wacka. That's amazing.
Yep.
I honestly, the bosses in general, I'm not remembering most of them off the top of my head, but I do remember them all being not that hard to beat. If you just let go of the balloons and jump on them, that pretty much gets the job done.
Yeah.
I feel like there was the boss inside the whale was like a squid or something, and that I think was the toughest boss of them all, because you couldn't just land after you jump. You needed to grab your balloons again.
Right. Yes. There was also a snowman, I want to say.
Yes.
And
who wears his bucket helmet, basically.
Yeah. And the last boss, I think, was a robot, right?
Yes, shooting sparks out of its mouth. So, look, between you guys, you remember them. So, 4 semi-memorable bosses. I think it's probably the thing that Balloon Kid, does least good are the bosses. I think they're quite, and again, limitations of the system, that kind of thing. But it is largely dodge and land on their head. But I think it's sort of enjoyable and a nice sort of decent amount of variety with them as well. So tragedy that it's missing on NSO. Tell me a little bit more about. Have you completed the Hello Kitty version, John? Because you mentioned the sort of not having the screen crunch. So what's the kind of big differences in terms of feel?
Yes, honestly, it's identical to Balloon Kid in almost every way. The only real difference is the screen crunch. There's sometimes in Balloon Kid the secret levels for the bonus rooms are obscured because you have to look for them. You have to fly upwards to find them.
Which I like. I like that they're hidden in funny places.
Hello Kitty World gets rid of that though. So
Oh no!
everything
It's
is
here.
just there. There's no scrolling vertically. It's all just kind of there. But it's nice though. It's nice to reimagine a Game Boy game with a lot more colors.
Yeah.
And the visuals are really nice. It's still very Balloon Kid though. You're still in Pennsylvania. It's just that you have Hello Kitty characters. But even the bosses, I think they're all identical. I think the enemies are all identical. It's just they've thrown Hello Kitty in there. The music's identical for the most part. I think there's a few that are a little bit different. But otherwise, it really is just Balloon Kid with Hello Kitty slapped in.
Yeah, and we haven't mentioned it. Decent music. A lot of the tracks recognizable from Smash Brothers. A lot of the music in there, sort of standard kind of NES and Game Boy fare. But Nintendo did a fantastic job making nice, memorable tunes.
Yeah, that was Takada, wasn't it? Who did the balloon fight music?
I think that's right.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all agree that it's a real shame that Balloon Kid stopped all the way back in 1992. But lucky for us, Sock won the quiz, and he is now the president of Nintendo. Congratulations. But we are the board, and we demand that you bring back the Balloon Fight series and that you make it a great big success. So please tell us, how do you plan to do it?
All right. So, I have thought about this a lot.
Okay.
Not in preparation for this podcast, but just in general.
I love it when that happens on this. Go on.
I have imagined a timeline whereby every subsequent Nintendo console and handheld got a balloon fight game.
Right.
I not only imagined its evolution, but places where Nintendo got spotty with it and fans were discontent. I've thought way too much about this.
You've plotted fan disappointment into your fictional balloon fight timeline. Excellent. Please walk us through it, leading up to the grand reveal.
Okay, well, I don't know if we've got time for a pitch for every single Nintendo console's balloon fight game.
The
but we'll
elevator
skip to the present day.
Okay.
The present day, in imagining those circumstances or not, I think what would make for a really grand return is if we go full 3D. It's a 3D platforming balloon fight game, right? But multiplayer is central. It's going to take a lot of cues from Splatoon, but instead of being about, turf control and different weapons, it is a free-for-all. You do want to be king of the hill. You do want to be last guy standing. There'll be different modes, like maybe team versus team, or, hold the fort, capture the flag, whatever. But for the most part, the idea is that you're a bunch of balloon guys, all attempting to be the last one there. And to keep things interesting, there would be items, kind of like Mario Kart, that have different effects just to add on top of your 3D platforming default moveset kit. You don't get quite as many movement options as, say, Mario and Mario Odyssey, but you get a decent amount to where there would be, if you're a player who's just a master at the game, you may not even want to get rid of their balloons because they're a menace on the ground.
Okay.
It'd be that sort of thing.
Oh, I like this. So it's very much, it's not kind of the Balloon Kid adventure kind of style. You're going back to Balloon Fight.
Yes and no. Yes, it's definitely going back to Balloon Fight, but there is a single player campaign, and we are going to utilize the Balloon Kid setting and characters. Mm-hmm. And definitely, what's the name of the bad guy from the Game & Watch game? Flip Flop Cletus?
It wasn't Flip Flap Cletus. I mean, you can. I will gift you Flip Flap Cletus if you want him. But the real one is Oiram Repus. I think I can't even remember.
Oiram Repus. Yeah. So Oiram Repus has been dead for like 10 years, but his son Flip Flop Cletus is definitely here to wage a new war and end all the Sky Patrol people. The multiplayer matches are contextualized either as warring factions or as training to go to war with factions. But yes, it's definitely, this is more fight than Balloon Trip. The way that, like, Alice is there. She's grown up now. She's like a military general. Yeah, and Sam with 2 M's as well.
Sorry, I was making notes on your pitch, and it's only just got into my brain that you said Alice is a military general.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Why not?
Okay,
Yeah, why not?
fine. And is Sam? Oh God! What about where's Jim? What about Jim? Is he
dead?
Sergeant or no? John. No.
We'll let the fans speculate. You'll
Okay.
unlock scrolls and artwork like Arms or Splatoon. There are questions. There's world building, but it's very immersive. It doesn't hand it to you on a silver platter. You've got to read between the lines.
All right, Sam. And is Sam part of Alice? Because we didn't really talk about this, but Sam is your like competitive frenemy. So I think the multiplayer, again, quite difficult to find footage, but I think the multiplayer in Balloon Kid sort of basically sees you racing and collecting, and so Sam wants to beat you. So Sam on your side,
Yeah.
is Sam part of the Sky Pirates, or what's happening there?
Maybe there will be a twist where there's like a masked sky pirate, and it's revealed that it's Sam, and all 3 of us will be like, no way, and everyone else will be like, interesting. This story. This isn't a twist because I don't know who this is, but good story. Just one other extra detail to add: amidst all of the factions and armies and stuff, this world expanding outward includes a lot of like fantasy but fairy tale characters. Like there's a faction of mermaids, there's a faction of dwarves, of dogu, which is like a Japanese mythological like living robots.
Yeah.
There'd be a diverse selection of characters you're able to play as in multiplayer whose movesets are ever so slightly different. Like they get different stats depending on what army you pledge allegiance to.
All right, John. What questions have you got?
All right. Just to learn the game structure a bit more, you've said it's 3D. What limitations are you putting on 3D flight? Can you just fly anywhere? Can you turn around? How are you going to keep this focused in a 3D space?
So I imagine it'd be a really cool technological showcase if the sky appeared endless. But I'm thinking more so like Star Fox Assault multiplayer.
Right.
Where you can fly around and you've got a lot of space to fly around, but you reach a point where the dome sort of stops you and you can't go beyond.
Okay,
And leave it to the level designers to come up with organic ways of limiting the maps.
What's the difference?
Or Thunderclouds.
Oh, very good.
Thunderclouds.
Thunderclouds. Okay, let's. I want to know then about. So you've got like almost like a battle dome. I guess you've got ground and you've got air. Let's talk. We'll call it. Do you want to call it turf war? I suppose it's. Is that kind of like the main? You talked about different
Balloon
battle
War.
modes,
I
obviously,
think is
but
great. Yeah, I think that is the central gameplay.
Is it called Balloon War?
Balloon
'Cause
War.
that is a good name. Okay, so Balloon War. That's the kind of bread and butter battle mode, shall we say? So what's the kind of is it 4 versus 4? Is it always a free for all? What's the loop of the main battle that you do?
I feel like it depends on what the settings are, your preferences, kind of like Smash Brothers. Either it's elimination, you're out of balloons, then you have a limited time to do damage without them before you're out, or it's timed. So it's just whoever's racked up the most points by the time the match is over is the winner overall. And sometimes depending on, again, your settings, either it's one person who wins or you've got a team of people working together. And it could either be 2 sides or it can be like the current team mode for F-Zero 99 where you've got 5 teams.
Nice.
It depends on... We live in a post-Fortnite world. There could be 100 balloon people. Why not?
Oh, God. And what's the difference then between combat on the ground and combat in the air?
Combat in the air gives you, like, there are different items for each types. On the ground, it's a little bit like Mario Chase from Nintendo Land, but with more movement options.
Nice.
And items to, like, you can do an oil spill to slow people down, or, I don't know, a punching glove, an ultra hand to grab people, all sorts of stuff. And in the air, it's a lot more like Mario Kart battle mode, where you've got more space, you can go faster, and the items would be more catered to getting people who are going away really fast, or at least faster than they do on the ground.
Any questions, John?
This seems pretty well thought through. It's always hard to dissect someone's argument who's been thinking about this outside of the podcast.
I guess the last thing for me, I've got 2 more questions, but they're brief ones. Can you give us a couple of items that you want to include, and also who's it going to be developed by?
Ooh, good questions. Okay, so items. I think an Ultra Hand would be a good one.
Nice.
For the air, I think, you want to zoom it out and grab people. And you can either grab them, their bodies themselves, or pop their balloon.
Nice.
Yeah, just, points. I don't know how the points are distributed. I haven't thought about it that hard. But yeah, an Ultra Hand. And let's go with, Flipper. You can wear a flipper on your back as like a shield. So your balloons can't be popped because if they hit you, they flip right off you.
That's great. And who's making it?
I want to say Nintendo EPD5 because this is a very Nintendo thing, but it feels like they should be off limits, right? They're like, oh, they're prestigious. That's in-house Nintendo. They're not going to do this, but why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not, man? Amazing. John, any more questions for Sock about Balloon War?
I think Balloon War sounds like a multi-million seller. As a Nintendo, are we investors or are we shareholders?
With a board. I'm not a business person. I don't really know what that means, but I think we can ask questions.
Yeah, as the board, we're very confident that this is going to perform gangbusters.
Good corporate speak, John. Well done. That's I believe we've had up the wazoo in this podcast before. Now we've got that's going to do gangbusters. I think that's typical.
Good job, kid. This will do gangbusters.
I think if I called the president kid, I might get in trouble. All right. Well, very good, very strong pitch to start with. John, you are now the president of Nintendo, but we are still the board, and we still demand that you bring back Balloon Kid. So please tell us, how would you plan to do it?
Well, the problem with Balloon Fight and Balloon Kid, more so Balloon Fight, let's not get into Balloon Kid. The problem with Balloon Fight is you couldn't date anyone in that game, could you?
Oh, John!
I'm staring at that
Jim.
man and those birds saying, why can't they get married?
Yeah, well, popping balloons, it will never work. It will never work, John. Balloon enthusiast and a beaked assassin.
Yeah.
You're living in a dream world, man.
I'm going to start this again. So my new pitch. We're getting...
Freud would have something to say about popping, and those 2 red balloons look like chairs.
Oh, no. No.
We're not
family-friendly podcast.
All right.
So true.
Fresh start. Okay. We are going somewhat safe with the base gameplay and the idea. We're just doing Balloon Fight 99, but we are going to change it up a little bit. We are combining Game Mode A and Game Mode B. So, to begin with, everyone is just doing Balloon Trip. You've got to do a little wave of Balloon Trip. And once that wave is over, and you've migrated to the left of the screen, you find your way in a Balloon Fight arena with everyone else not everyone else, with, let's say, 8 other people who survived the Balloon Trip.
Great.
They've gone in different directions, so there are 99 of you, but you end up in an arena with 8 people. And the objective from there is just to play a round of Balloon Fight. You've just got to get rid of all the enemies there. However, you can also be dirty and try and attack each other. That's not the objective, but if you want to just get rid of players, you can. And every time you pop a balloon, you get a slight buff. You might become faster. You might get an item like a throwing knife, which you can use to hit someone's balloon from across the stage.
Oh, God.
But you can, if you get other players' balloons too, you also get those buffs. So there is an incentive to get other players, but the only way to move on is to get rid of all the enemies. And then once you've gotten rid of all the enemies, a little spinning wheel goes around. It's pointing up, right, down, or left. And that takes you back into Balloon Trip. Only you could be going up, or down, or right. Not just left anymore. We're going in different directions.
Right.
And every time you get into a new wave of Balloon Trip, things get faster. It gets faster and faster. Only the skilled players are going to make it to the final round, and from there, it's just going to get more aggressive. The enemies are going to be faster. The other players are going to have buffs to make them faster, or have throwing knives, or whatever else. So we are relying on the same core gameplay of Balloon Fight, but we have evolved how dynamic it is while combining the core modes together.
All right, nice. So I just want to be super clear about this. So, okay, so it's a 99. So it is 99 players to start with.
It's 99 players. You never see 99 people because you're keeping it in small groups. But yes,
so
99 players.
You're drifting along balloon trip. You've got the sparks, all that kind of stuff, the usual thing, or the lightning. Are you collecting anything? Does anything help you sort of pre-buff before the fight bit, during the trip bit? Or is it just getting to the arena?
The balloon trip bit is just to survive. It's just to survive. You will get buffs in the balloon fight arena, which will help you out during balloon trip, because you might get more agile, you might have more control over yourself. Yeah, it's just standard balloon trip there.
Okay, and so when you come into the arena, you've got 7 other players and yourself, big old screen, and are you all sharing? So you're all sharing that one screen, aren't you?
All sharing that one screen.
All right, and you're taking down the birds, or the masked people.
We'll
never know. So you're taking down the birds. You're getting these buffs, and you're saying obviously you can affect the other players to buff yourself, but can you knock anybody out at this point, or is it just kind of what's the kind of limitations of what you can do there?
Yeah, you absolutely can. You can just bump into someone else just like they're a bird, and when you pop their balloon, there's a little circle in the corner which just spins a little bit and it lands on a buff, and it could be like, you're faster now, you can move easier now, you've got a throwing knife, you've got a pin, you've got a grenade.
Yep, good. I'm glad you tackled the items already. Grenade. Yes. Okay, all right, and then basically it's just last man standing for the sort of sprint at the end. Exactly.
It will. Very skilled players can stay in for a while, but it's going to get crazy fast the longer they go. So the odds are not in your favor by the end.
All right. Okay. Sock, any questions for John?
Yeah. So first off, this sounds really good, and I'm sure I would play it all the time, and it'd become a new addiction for me. But I have this question. I don't believe we established this or not, but because it's a 99 game, we sort of assume that this will take on the look of the NES game. Is that true, or is there something else going on with the art style?
We've assumed wrong. We revitalized the art style. The president of Nintendo really likes how it looks in Nintendo Land. I thought that sort of play backdrop aesthetic, sort of a curtain look, was really nice. And I want to bring that back. We're not using these, though. And here's part of the kicker. This is a 99 game, meaning it's partially a service game. So unlocks and personalization are kind of a big part of that. Like in Tetris, you get themes. In F-Zero, you get different car skins. We overheard people talking about how Balloon Fight kind of resembles other NES games, and we like that idea. And so you can get other characters from that era. You can put balloons on the Ice Climber. You can get Mario looking like his Wrecking Crew self and put balloons on him. Little Mac can have some balloons. And it just goes on and on and on. We're taking the whole NES Nintendo cast, and they will be slowly unlocked through player progression.
Even the rat from Short Order?
Even them!
So among all of the NES era characters you can play as, the rat from Short Order is obviously a must.
Yeah. That's part of the reason we made this game in the first place.
But will there be cross promotion? Tetris 99 has been making a lot of deals across the counter. Pac-Man 99 did too, for all the 2 hours it was available. What are some big relevant brands you want to cross over in Balloon Fight 99?
Well, we've signed a contract with Hello Kitty to get them in
that's
this
all
game.
I wanted to hear. Yeah,
we're not just getting Hello Kitty; we're getting the whole gang. And I can't remember the names of the other Hello Kitty characters.
I was about to shout some out. I've got them on an Animal Crossing island somewhere. Don't remember them. I think there's a dog with a pancake on its head.
There's an evil-looking Hello Kitty.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to go further, though. We are throwing in different background aesthetics that coincide with new releases. So not quite like a Tetris theme, though. Instead of just being able to put like a picture in the background, we are going to have different colored themes. So if a Metroid game comes out, we are going to have darker themes and call that the Metroid theme. Sometimes there'll be Metroids passing through the background. We're just going to sort of tailor it to the feel of that game. And so people might play Balloon Fight 99 and say, I love the vibe of this theme. Now I've got to play myself some Urban Champion.
No.
Yeah. Family champion.
John,
Family
don't
champion.
sully this fantastic idea, please. I've got to play some Metroid. Okay. What's Metroid Dread sequel going to be called?
Metroid Fun Time.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I think that's going to sell. That's going to sell gangbusters.
I like
I've
fun.
got two last little questions for me then. So, developed internally, presumably by Nintendo.
We're getting NST, Nintendo Software Technology. They're on this.
Lovely. And also, what was my other question? What are your plans for Oiram Repus?
Yeah. So the thing with Oiram Repus.
Who cares? Yeah, go on.
Flip flop Cletus.
The boss, Flip Flop Cletus, Enron Lupus, whatever you want, Oiram Repus, whatever you want to call him. What's the plan? Does he feature? I'm going to be fair to you. Does Oiram Repus feature, John?
We're going to play loyal to the Game & Watch game, where he doesn't really feature, but there is still a story that's far too deep that you can find in the options menu. We're talking like a novelette, that kind of word count. There's a lot of lore to this little Balloon Fight Arena game, and he features heavily in it.
Good. I'm glad you've thought this through. I won't ask for too much of the writing, but what's the title of the novelette? Are we sort of like talking Jane Austen-esque? What are we thinking?
It's called. It's called popping. It's called popping.
It's just called popping. One of those, that absolute classic.
Popping.
They're going to be studying this in English lit class in 20 years from now. Brilliant.
That's a pretty popping title.
Sock, any last questions for you for John?
Is this available for all NSO subscribers or just expansion pass?
That's a good question. We haven't yet done an NSO game of this kind for just expansion, have we? And we're keeping it that way. No, this is for all NSO subscribers.
Yay!
But if you have the expansion pass, you can play as a Game Boy.
Fantastic. Wow. That is worth the extra, 30 quid a month? Okay. Two very different, very strong pictures. We're low on time, so I'm going to chuck my pitch in super quick. My one is called Balloon Kid Trouble in Pennsylvania. Now it's kind of a remake, but I'm a stickler for keeping in 2D or 3D from the previous games, but I'm making this a full 3D adventure game. So developed by HAL Labs, who I think they did Kirby in the Forgotten Land, didn't they? HAL?
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. It's a beautiful, very fun game. So I want something kind of in the vein of like a Banjo-Kazooie, but more airborne than obviously land-based. You play as Alice, and I'm bringing in all the characters that people know and love. Sam, Oiram Repus, Jim. Who could forget these classics? They're all here. So Oiram Repus...
Even Tingle?
Not Tingle. He deserves his own game. He might be DLC. So Oiram Repus wants to take over the skies of Pennsylvania, and he kidnaps Jim because Jim is the master of balloon flight. So Alice is tasked with bringing him back. You have everything's pencil themed. You have a pencil sword. Later on, you get an upgrade, which is a bow and arrow which shoots pencils. You drop pencil bombs. That's not a very good one, but something like that. Everything's sort of heavily pencil themed. And you see Balloon Man from the Game & Watch version. He runs the Sky Patrol, and so he's trying to catch Oiram Repus, but you'll find him in a level to do a side quest, and you have to go round up a bunch of the bird people for him and put them into the prison. Balloon Fighter's there, but he's just living his best life. He's just drifting through, and he wants to do races. So you race him. to get. Basically, balloons are kind of like currency as well. So you race him, and like you find balloons that kind of ends the level, like jiggies, I guess. So he gives you one of his balloons. Sam was the racing level, so that makes more sense. Sam's is the racing levels, whereas balloon fight is you basically take him on in a balloon fight when you meet him. So you're unlocking balloons. These balloons let you float further from Pennsylvania, so unlocking new areas to go to. We've got the city, we've got the forest, we've got the ocean, we've got you float into a giant whale that's coming back. We've got the icy mountain, we've got a factory, and then this time we have, from the Game & Watch version, Sky Metropolis, and the final boss fight with Oiram Repus and bringing back Jim. So yes, I want Balloon Fight to be a full 3D adventure, land-based stuff, mostly air-based, so the land is very sparse and it's mostly water. It's like a sunken world. So you've still got the fish threat, basically. But there are some bits on land as well. But I think when you're on the land, it's intense. The enemies are really hard. They're really coming at you. And, you can pump up the balloons and get back up. But the land-based stuff is the scary, last bit of the balloon stuff. And yeah, that's my pitch. Balloon Kid, Trouble in Pennsylvania. I will now accept questions from the board.
So, HOW Labs are doing this, right?
They are.
Is that because Kirby can also fly, or is there more of a reason?
Kirby, he's got to feature in it, hasn't he?
He's
got to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? And we've mentioned this, bringing back other classic characters from that era. Kirby's going to be there. He's going to be... You have to help him retrieve a tomato, and then he gives you a balloon that he's found. Done.
Classic Kirby.
Classic Kirby. Anything for a maximum tomato. Yes, Kirby makes an appearance.
Nice.
That's brilliant. It's like Kirby's Dream Land 2, but in reverse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Kirby, he's such a good boy. I love him so much. Sock, any questions from you about my game?
As for me, yeah, I've got a question for you.
Yeah. Go for it,
sir. And it's a real question. It's a real doozy. It's a dinger of a question.
Are you thinking of it right now?
Yes. What's the music? What's the music like in this game?
The music is
how's the soundtrack?
That's a good question, and honestly, one I haven't thought about enough. I think I don't know if it's sort of more like grandeur, like kind of Mario Galaxy and later Mario games, or more kind of silly Banjo-Kazooie. The art style, I imagine, is hand drawn, like everything's coloured in pencil as well. So again, lean into the Pennsylvania thing. So I think kind of like cutesy, little that kind of stuff, which can get a bit harder when you're getting into the battles. The classic bosses are back, which we all know and love, like Knick Knack Wolf. I can't remember their names, and the robot, but. Yes, I want to bring back... I want to kind of just remake the game in a modern context. I think the remixes... There we go. Remixes of the songs and a few new ones. But, yeah, sticking close to the roots, but making it accessible for a modern audience.
So, listen, kid. With Balloon Fight and Balloon Kid... Balloon Kid was a single-player adventure, but it also had the longevity of just the balloon trip mode that you could do as well. These are two games that can last for a long time. There's a lot of replayability. This sounds like a more of a one-and-done game. You can play it from start to finish, and that's kind of the end. How do you plan on making this a game that never ends?
Thanks for your question, John. This is... Do you know what? It's a one-player... experience. There isn't multiplayer. I think games can be that. They can be one player, one and done. If the game sells gangbusters and copies are just going up the wazoo, then we could maybe explore some kind of DLC. But I'm not a big fan of DLC, to be honest. So for me, it's just a lovingly crafted experience that you can enjoy, bringing back a classic character.
Nice, good answer.
Thank you. And there you have it. There are 3 pitches. So, which do you like best? Do you like Sock's Balloon War? A multiplayer, Splatoon-inspired 3D platform fighter with several different battle modes, full of items and with multiplayer at its heart. A single-player campaign is also there, which sees Alice take on Flip Flap Cletus. developed internally by Nintendo. Do you like John's Balloon Fight 99? A combination of modes that sees 99 players drift through a balloon trip course before entering an arena with the 8 remaining players. Adding buffs to their characters with ethical choices to make before a sprint to the finish to determine the winner. Developed by NST and with a new look and classic Nintendo characters to unlock to expand its gameplay, with the novelette popping too. Or do you like my how-developed 3D platformer, bringing the characters from the old games back to save Pennsylvania from the wrath of Oiram Repus? Collectibles, combat, and different worlds to explore with a hand-drawn aesthetic and a colourful, cutesy world. Or do you have a better idea yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe while you're there. If you're listening on a podcast, if you could rate and like, we would really appreciate it. You can find us all over, of course, on Bluesky. Thank you very much. We can look in our eyes. You can trust us. Join us on Bluesky. Sock, thank you very much for coming back for us today.
Thank you for having me back. It was a pleasure.
John, thank you very much for coming back too.
Thank you. I've learned a lot about Oiram Repus today, and I feel like
I think you said it wrong.
Yeah, probably. We've really tried to make him a thing. This is a person I never knew about until now, and now I know too much about him.
I've just realised
now it feels like there was never a time we didn't know. Yeah. It's like he's been here all along.
I'm going to have to draw him for the thumbnail now as well, which I'm quite looking forward to be honest. Yes, thank you so much for the pictures. Thank you so much for joining us and for listening. But for now, that's game over. Goodbye.